Hello, how's it going, guys?
Good, thank you. Yourself?
Really good. So it's Chris and Poppy, right?
It is, yeah.
Excellent. So I've seen your question. You've said that you are living in Australia, have been doing for the last 6 years.
Yeah.
You're wanting to move back to England and build a portfolio. So what do you want from me?
At the moment, we're waiting for citizenship here in Australia.
Yeah.
So that's going to hopefully come through by March of next year, and then as soon as we get that, we want to come back.
Okay.
So I guess the thing that we want to know is we really want to get started from here, because by the time we get back, we want to, ideally, we want to be financially able to continue to carry on with what we want to do.
Yeah.
So not to start with, not to replace income, but just to be able to pay for everyday things. If that makes sense. So we basically want to know how we can get started from here.
Yeah. Sure.
Without being on the ground, being able to look around places, that sort of thing.
Okay. So you're wanting to invest? Are you wanting to just sort of build a traditional buy-to-let portfolio, or are you wanting to do sort of clever, creative things like lease options and stuff like that, or are you literally just wanting to put your money into a English portfolio so that when you come to England, you've got some cash flow coming in?
No, we want to do we've followed all the things, the processes that you've done, and that's the sort of stuff that we want to do. We want to go down that road.
Maybe just to make sure we've got an income and the best return on investment we can get, really, with what we've got.
Why don't you tell me your strategy then, the thing that you're thinking to do, and then I'll see if I can, see any problems with that or challenges with that. I mean, what have you got any challenges? I mean, what is it that you're wanting to do? What's your plan?
We've got a couple of options. We've got £60,000 in a savings account in England at the moment, and obviously with watching all of your stuff, and we've kind of realised that that's not the way to go.
Yeah.
And so we're either looking at investing that in, try and spreading it out as much as possible, but we've also, my mum has quite a 1.8 in her property at the moment, which she owns, and she's struggling with cash flow at the moment. So we were thinking of potentially setting up a limited company which would help us get a mortgage as well, and then her potentially financing some of her property, and whether that would be more beneficial using some of that money as well as our 60,000, or whether we can just do it with that 60,000 cash we've got.
Okay, that makes sense. So have you currently got any properties at all? Do you own any houses in England or Australia?
No, we don't.
Would you be able to get a mortgage if you wanted to? Say for instance, you wanted to use that £60,000 to put down to as a deposit on a nice big HMO or something. Would you be able to do that, or do you not know?
Yes,
we can.
Yeah,
you can.
Through mum as a mortgage host. Yeah.
Okay, so your mum would be a mortgage host.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool. All right, cool. So you've got £60,000 that you're ready to invest in England. You've also got a lot of equity that your mum's got, which you could potentially do as a joint venture. So what's your problem then? What's your challenge?
Well, I guess our big challenge is our education and knowing where to start. What's the
best
where
strategy.
the strategy. So we want to do the course and stuff when we come back, and we want to get a mentor, and we've been speaking to a number of people and watching YouTube clips and that sort of stuff, but we
can't get back to England for the course, for your course, and we would just love a mentor so we don't jump in and do the wrong thing and then lose the savings.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely don't want to invest into something stupid. You want to make sure that you invest it well. I mean, my thoughts would probably be, you're going to be coming back to England, you said after March next year, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So what I would probably be thinking is, it would make sense to try and invest that £60,000 really well into something really profitable, and then use that as like a earn the right proof type of thing, to then be able to prove to yourselves and also to prove to your mum what you can do And then once you've done that, capitalise on the money that your mum's got and do the same strategy than you did with the £60,000, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but would you suggest maybe a saucer? Because obviously we're not in the country to come to the training.
I probably would. I'd probably say that, I mean, you want to be clear on your strategy still, but I mean, I would probably be looking with, if you've got £60,000. Does your mum own any houses in England?
Yeah, just that property.
Does she own buy-to-let property as well?
No.
So she just owns a residential?
Yes.
Okay, so you need to find out, if your mum's happy to be a mortgage host for you, that's great. You want to find out what type of mortgage your mum can get, because it might be that your mum can get a mortgage, but she can't get a HMO mortgage, or she can't get, you know, there's different types of mortgages. But I think probably what I would be wanting to do, I understand that, you know, you want to get mentored and all that kind of stuff, but at the same time, if you're not going to be in the country for another sort of, you know, 6-12 months potentially, you want to, when you come to England, you said you wanted to be earning, you know, 27k, and then you want to push that up to 80k. So I would be thinking, if I was you, I mean, the money in the bank is, as you know, it's shrinking. So just sat there doing nothing, that's not good. At the same time, you don't want to rush in and buy something stupid. I would probably work with a really good trusted sourcer. I mean, you know, we've got people on our books that we use to invest your £60,000 into a really good, profitable, maybe like a 6-bed HMO in a really good area.
Okay.
That might give you a profit of between £1,000 and £2,000 per month.
Okay.
Something like that. And then once you've got the money coming in and it's all completed and it's working, that could take a few months, because things in property do take a while. But while when it's all kicking and it's happening, then show your mom what it's done. Hey mom, this is the property that I bought, this is the strategy that we used. And then, you know, raise some equity from what your mom's got and do it again. You find the properties, you use your knowledge and your contacts, but your mom puts the money in and you can go 50-50 on the profits. How much equity would your mom be prepared to work with you on?
She's probably about $1 million.
$1 million. Okay, well, with £1 million, you can do some really serious damage. I mean, we could be talking about doing development, buying land and building properties from scratch and then refinancing them, putting all our money in, all kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, which will be extremely profitable. What's your long-term goal? What are you wanting to achieve through property?
I guess Chris here, we're in the country because he does geology, so he works away on a mine site all the time and we never get to see each other. So the ideal situation is that we can both live near our families and stuff back in England and not be away from each other all the time. So we just would really like to have money coming in every month, really, that we can still be together. So
do you need a certain level of income before you come back to England?
Yes, I do.
How much do you need?
Just for we talk maybe 27 a year. We've kind of worked out to be minimum.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's what we've salaries aside, that's what we've calculated will be living costs.
Yeah, sure. And if you came to England, would your only source of income be property though, or would you have another source at all?
It would be our only source. That's why we're kind of wanting to start now to hopefully hit the ground running when we get back.
Yeah.
Is that doable?
Yeah, it's very doable. I'm just thinking it depends on your strategy. So to invest your 60 grand, I mean, to make £27,000 cash flow from the back of investing 60 grand, that's going to be very tough going, because that's almost 50% return on investment that you need. So, I mean, you could come to England tomorrow and make 27 grand a month from scratch by just getting one rent-to-rent deal or sourcing a deal a month and passing it on to somebody. So there's lots and lots of different things that you can do. I'm just thinking with your situation, I'm trying to think what the best strategy would be for you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is we're not going to need that money straight away as soon as we get back. That's just what we feel by the time that we settle in and get ourselves a house, and when we move back, we're going to be probably living with family and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be like we need that money straight away. So it's not going to be urgent, but that's just what we've worked out we'll need when we're living as a couple.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
I understand, and that would cover your basic costs to live a normal basic life, and then obviously you'll just want to build on that, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. That makes so in that case you could do the strategy of that. Then you could invest the 60 grand now, get an income. I don't think you'd be hitting 27k a year, but it might be. It could be maybe 20, and then you come to live in England, and then you could then do a combination of. I mean, if you've paid, the cool thing is if you've paid someone to source you a property, you then not only get the property, but you also get a lot of knowledge as well from it. So by the time you come to England, you know, you've got the property, but you can duplicate that and do it again and again.
Yeah, but would you suggest buying a house outright for like 60, or would you suggest getting a mortgage on it and, you know, like a big HMO, or, you know?
Well, I think definitely the latter, because if you bought a house for cash for 60 grand, the rent that you're going to get on that, even if you're lucky, a 60 grand house is maybe going to give you 550 pounds a month, and then you're going to have to pay for someone to manage the property. You're going to be left with, you know, very like £300-400 a month cash flow, which is only going to be what, like 5 grand a year or something tops. Whereas if you put that down as a deposit and get your mum to be a mortgage host, you could buy a big 6-bed HMO in the centre of Birmingham or something, and then you could make 1,000 or 1,500 or even more profit each month, as opposed to a few £100s. So you know, you're leveraging your money.
Yeah, and that in HMO, there's something like serviced accommodation.
I mean, serviced accommodation could be is very profitable. I mean, again, I think HMO for your first investment, HMO might be a little bit safer than serviced accommodation. Because it's a very, very tried and tested market and things. So I'd probably, with 60 grand, you're going to have, not only could you buy a HMO, you're probably going to have money left over as well, because you only really need like 40 grand for a HMO. So you could do a HMO and then keep some money as cushion, so that when you come to England, you've still got like maybe 15-20 grand in the bank, which you could then use for rent to rent. You could use for educating yourself. You could use for paying more source of fees. I think if I was you, my plan would be to invest £40,000 into a HMO, and I'd pay a sourcer to do it. I'd leave maybe £15,000 in the bank. I'd come to England next year with 15 grand, and then with that £15,000, you can then use that for whatever strategy tickles your fancy. You can use it to begin to build a little rent-to-rent portfolio. Whereabouts in England are you going to be?
From the northeast in Newcastle.
Newcastle, interesting. Newcastle's an awesome area. There's some really good investment opportunities in Newcastle. I'd probably come to England. You may as well go full-time in property, because you've got the time and you enjoy property. You've got one house giving you an income. Just go crazy, go full-time in property. Come to Newcastle, go networking, go to training programs, find some rent-to-rent in Newcastle. Use that 15 grand to go crazy for a few months, just educating yourself and doing rent-to-rents and also to live off a little bit. And then 3 months after you've come to England, hopefully you'll have a couple of rent-to-rent deals. You'll know the market. You'll have educated yourself. You'll have one nice big HMO giving you a decent income. And at that point in time, you'll be in a position where you've got £1 million equity from your mom that you can do some really cool stuff with. I think that would be where I'd be wanting to go.
Okay, amazing. And so if we went with the sourcer, like with your company, would we just go with whatever area you would recommend?
No.
Or would we find someone in the northeast who's
get the sourcer to find something in Newcastle.
Okay. And do your company do that? Like, would we be able to say in Newcastle, or?
Yeah, I mean, better sourced, I would recommend. I don't personally get involved in the sourcing side of things, but we've got a company that will be able to sort that for you and find something in Newcastle, no problem.
Oh, amazing.
The point of the kind of action points then for you guys is going to be, number one, find out what kind of mortgage your mum can get. Can she get a HMO mortgage?
Okay.
So she needs to speak to a mortgage broker.
Okay.
Number two, you need to speak to a sourcer who can get you a nice big HMO in Newcastle.
Yeah, like 5-bedroom.
At least 5, 6. Yeah, totally. And then number three, get your ass to England and pull your sleeves up.
We will do.
Amazing. Yeah, that sounds like a great plan, doesn't it?
Has that been all right? Have you got any? Is there anything else you need from me right now?
Thanks so much for your time.
Yeah,
You're so welcome. Well, listen, when you come to Newcastle, drop us a message. Let us know how it's going, and if we can help in any way, we will.
Okay, thank you so much, and hopefully once we get back, we'll come along to your crash course. And
you should do. You'll love it. Awesome. See you guys.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.